everyone, I thought that I would do a sit down talking video, which feels a little bit odd, a little bit strange compared to my normal vlogs or like focused, but as you can see from the title, we are going to be discussing me returning to work. So Max is actually 11 months today, which is crazy, like absolutely crazy. 11 months! Yeah, absolutely bonkers. I mean, I don't even know where the time has gone. It's just literally flown by. And I'm so grateful that I've even had 11 months because I know so many mums, that have had to go back after 6 months, after 9 months. You're right there, standing up. So yeah, I'm so grateful that I've had 11 whole months with Maximus because it's been incredible. Hard at times. I mean, I always say, like, motherhood has been, have you just emptied the whole bag? Oh my. Hard, as I said, guys. I don't know what I'm saying now. God, my train of thinking. But yeah, I'm so grateful that I've had 11 months with Max, and yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. So originally the plan was that I was going to be going back to work at 9 months, which would have been February, like towards the end of February. But so for those of you that don't know, I actually worked in a nursery, and I have done for, I think it was coming up to 7 years. And I started as kind of like a bank staff member, and I ended up doing my apprenticeship, getting my level 3. And then in 2020, I actually got a promotion and became a room leader of the toddler room. And then later in the year, I actually got a second promotion and I became what they call the third in charge in a nursery as well. So, and I've done that since 2020 in that position. So yeah, I mean, anyone that sort of, I suppose, knows me personally or knew me in a, I suppose, a work professional setting, I absolutely adored the work that I did, caring for children, tracking their development, making sure that they're hitting those milestones, what can I do to support and make sure that they are, the relationships that I had with parents, and I suppose with my team members as well. So I ran a team for nearly 3 years, and I looked after so many classes of children as well, which was absolutely incredible. I mean, I've learned so many things. I've worked with some incredible practitioners. I put so much into my job, into my work, and so much pride. Like, I was honestly so much pride. Like, unless you knew me when I was, like, I suppose, working before I had Max, you wouldn't understand how much went into it and how much I wanted to put into it. Is that nice? Is that nice? Yeah? So the nursery that I worked at is actually in London, and we actually moved out of London in 2021, but I continued to work there up until we had Max. So I was doing a lot of travelling, driving my car a lot of mileage. I did longer days, and it was just a lot. But I still poured my heart and soul into it. And honestly, when I became pregnant with Max, I still honestly had it in my head that I was still going to be doing all of the travelling and like we were going to make it work somehow. So for context, I used to leave my house at 6, get there for 7, and I used to work until 6:30 in the evening, and I wouldn't get back until about 7:30. So it was very long days for me. But honestly, when I got pregnant with Max, I was like, yeah, like, it's going to be no problem. I've got this in the bag. Like, I know exactly what's what. I know, you know, we're going to be able to fit it into our routine. And motherhood humbled me. It changed everything. Max changed my whole entire life. And I know it sounds cliche, and it probably does sound cliche, especially to people who haven't had children, or maybe even to some of you that have got children, maybe it does sound cliche, but honestly, from the bottom of my heart, he changed my entire world. And I had several people say to me, like, you're not going to know how you feel until the baby arrives, and you know, don't stress about work, don't think about, you know, your working patterns or this or that. And I was like, yeah, because in my head, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm definitely going back. Like, there's no, like, two ways about it. And I think it's because the nursery I worked at had such a, I suppose, family feel. Like, you really did feel like you were, you know, leaning on your own family when days were hard, or if you was having a hard time. It didn't feel like work. It is really hard to explain unless you've been in that sort of situation. But as I said, Max changed my entire world, and he became my entire world. So, you know, hello, I'm talking about you. Want me to have a kiss? Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, Max is my entire world now, and honestly, I didn't realise how much things were going to change when Max actually was born. I suppose, like I said, it just humbled me. Motherhood humbled me, and it's taught me so many things, and my perspective on life and the things that are important to me have obviously changed. My priorities have changed. Oh my goodness! Max is obsessed with Hoover still. He keeps going for our Hoover. I'm just scared it's going to fall on top of him. Yeah, you've got your Hoover here. So the original plan was that I was going to go back to work after 9 months to my original place nursery in London. And the reason for it being 9 months was that although I had always said to Harry I would love to take a year, we didn't know if financially it was going to be possible, because the last 3 months of my maternity leave is completely unpaid. As are most places, and I know a lot of people get even less than that in other countries and things like that. So yeah, 9 months felt quite short to me, but you know, at the same time it was kind of like, well, actually it's a lot longer, I suppose, than what a lot of people do get. So I still felt grateful that I was still going to get the 9 months, but I did feel very sad about it. Then in November time, I had a meeting with my manager and just said, like, I need to see what my options are. I wanted to cut my days down. So again, for context, I was doing 4 very long days, and I wanted to cut down to 3 days, but doing shorter hours as well. And the plan was that Max was going to come to nursery with me, so that's why I didn't want the days to be too long for him. And I felt like 3 days was fine, because then I could do 2 days at home with him and we still get that time together. So yeah, that was kind of like what the plan was, and that's kind of like where we was at in like November time. Then I was also given the option of exploring some more local nurseries to us, so that I wouldn't have to focus too much on the travelling side of things. And I did say to my manager, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if he's going to fall asleep in the car on the way home, and you know, he's going to sleep for an hour and then I've got to keep him awake for a little bit, and then he's not going to go down for his bedtime nap, and you know, I just didn't know how it was going to work for us as a family. And it just felt like a lot of strain. So I actually explored the other nurseries that were closer to us. Now, there was only one nursery that actually had a space for Max, even though I'm an employee, because that's just how busy nurseries are these days. I explored the other nursery, and then at Christmas time, I made the decision that I was actually going to transfer to the same company, obviously, but just transfer to a different branch that was closer to us. It was about a 20-minute drive. I actually decided to cut my days down to 2 days, and Max would be coming with me 2 days. So that was kind of like where we was at December time. At Christmas time, I also asked my manager to extend my maternity leave from 9 months to a year. And the reason for that is because the nursery that I was going to be transferring to was still being built. So I think they had a planned opening date for April, end of April time, and I was due back at a year, would be Max's birthday essentially, because that is actually when I took my maternity leave. Last year, before Max was born, I actually took all of my annual leave. So my maternity leave didn't actually start until, I think it was like the day before Max's birthday, like he was actually born. So that was kind of where we was at. I felt at peace with my decision. It was a hard decision to make, and I was really, you know, I went back and forth for ages to try and even make the decision to transfer from one branch to another, because obviously the place that I was at in London it felt like a second home to me. You know, I knew all the people. I knew the people that were going to be looking after Max. Yeah, it was a hard decision to make, and it was an emotional one as well, because I've been there for nearly 7 years or whatever. So yeah, that was the decision that was made at Christmas time. So then I kind of felt like I could breathe a little bit again, because I was like, well, actually, I've got the year now, so I don't need to be thinking, oh, I've only got 2 months, you know, February time, I'm going to be going back to work, because the nursery hadn't been built. I extended my maternity leave for a year. So I was like, right, okay, I've got a little bit more time. Realisation probably hit me just after Christmas. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be going back to my old place. I'm not going to be with the people that I know and have worked with for years. This new place, I'm not going to know anyone. It's, you know, a brand new team, essentially. So that was all quite, like, I suppose, quite daunting. I suppose also the realisation that I've actually got to settle my own child, and that was quite a hard realisation as well, that, you know, I'm going to have to settle Max with strangers, essentially. And I mean, that's what people have done with me for absolute years, but it is so true when they say, like, it's so different as a practitioner. It's so different looking after other people's children, you know, giving those families that reassurance, things like that. But then when it's my own child, it just felt so overwhelming. Financially at the time, we kept saying, like, actually, it's better if I go back to work, like, otherwise we're going to be, you know, a little bit short and things like that. And that was kind of like the thing that kept me going, because it was kind of like, well, I need to do this, I have to do this. But honestly, the amount of nights that, like, after I put Max to bed and I'd come down and me and Harry would be talking and he's like, what's wrong? And honestly, I just couldn't stop crying. I was just so upset at the thought of having to leave Max. And it sounds so silly, I suppose, because I've been a practitioner and I've been on the other end of it. And I know how quickly these children settle, and, you know, although they might cry when their parents first leave, within literally seconds, minutes, like, they're absolutely fine again. So it's, even though I know that and I have all of that knowledge and I know exactly how the process works and, you know, all of that, even though I knew that, it still was really, really hard for me to be like, yeah, he's going to be fine at nursery. I think the thing that's also made it quite difficult to process and to, like, you know, get on with, essentially, is that Max sleeps with us, and he has done since, I don't even know, I can't even remember how old he was. I want to say anywhere between 7 and 8 weeks. I'm sure it was around that sort of time when he started sleeping in our bed. So we co-slept, and now he sleeps in our bed fully, and he does that for all of his naps as well. So he doesn't sleep in his cot. I don't bother trying to, like, get him to sleep and then put him in the cot, because he wakes up pretty much straight away. And honestly, it was just easier because I always breastfeed him to sleep. So because I breastfeed Max to sleep, that was the only sort of way that he would go to sleep. And the only other way that he will go to sleep is if he's got movement. So, like, if he's in the car and stuff, then he'll go to sleep like that. And if he falls asleep, you know, sort of just in your arms and stuff, he's got to be absolutely shattered to do that. So I think exclusively breastfeeding and the bed sharing, that kind of went hand in hand. And I the thought of him being put to sleep and him not being breastfed to sleep, that was quite hard to come to terms with as well, because I was like, well, how is he going to settle? He doesn't take a dummy. He hasn't had a dummy since, I think, October time. So it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like, how is he gonna do this? And it's, again, it sounds silly because I know how well children adapt, and they are so different with practitioners in comparison to their own families and things like that. That was something that was really playing on my mind. And we did introduce the bottle for a little while, and he was quite happily taking, but honestly, I actually just got a little bit lazy with pumping and cleaning everything and stuff like that. So, and it is a lot easier just to breastfeed him rather than pump. Mum. Mum. So something happened with Harry's job and he started looking for a new job, and he had been looking for a little while. I think it was the added pressure of him knowing that I didn't want to go back to work, and like he said several times, you know, Rhiannon, I'm happy for you to stay home, we just need to make it work financially in whatever way that, you know, whatever that looks like. We need to be able to make up that little bit extra money so that we're not, you know, really short or struggling or anything like that. And I was like, do you know what, he is right. I knew he was right. So but he ended up finding a new job that was offering a lot more money for the exact same work that he's doing. The only downside is that he has to travel a little bit more, and it's slightly longer hours. So I suppose the short answer to this video is no, I am not returning to work right now. Harry's making the sacrifice of, you know, more of his time. He does longer hours, he gets a shorter lunch break, and he travels a lot more in comparison to his old job. But he's bringing a lot more money home, which means that we don't need me to work. And essentially that's what both of us wanted. You know, when I fell pregnant, I really was under the impression, no, yeah, I'm absolutely gonna be going back to work, and like I'm happy to be a working mum and things like that. And when Max came, as I said, he became my whole entire world. Sorry guys, I nearly ran out of space and storage, so I had to come upstairs and sort it all out. But yeah, obviously I am not needed to work right this second. Harry's really happy, I'm really happy. And I've already said to Harry, I'm so grateful to him. Without him taking on this new job, I would have had to go back to work, and I feel like he's just given me, I suppose, a gift really. And I do get emotional about it every time I talk about it, because I'm just so grateful that I get this time. It's just priceless time, and it does make me sad that there are so many people that will not get that time with their children because they have to financially, they have to go back to work. And I do feel so blessed that I'm getting this time, and yeah, it does make me emotional. So yeah, that's it really. I'm not going to be going back to work. It does feel quite strange. I've worked from literally when I left school. I had a part-time job in college and then full-time afterwards, and yeah, it does feel strange. But I'm so excited, like, for this next part, because I truly feel like I'm in like my motherhood era. So yeah, I don't know, I am excited, and I'm just so grateful, because I really didn't think this was going to be possible at one point. So it also means that I can try and continue doing my YouTube videos and my social medias and things like that as well, like when Max has his naps and stuff. So yeah, just truly just so grateful. Harry, I absolutely adore you, I love you, Max loves you, and just thank you, I suppose. But I mean, he already knows this. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It feels very strange, but very exciting. And truly just so grateful. I know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the update, and keep your eyes peeled, because I suppose there'll be more content to come.